What's up, everyone, and welcome to the second episode of Indie Interviews. Today we're joined by KazeBeat, or also known as Cody.
That's right. Hey, Dom. Thanks for having me on.
You're welcome. Thanks for coming.
Yes, we tried this once before, but this is round two, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Yes. Thanks for having me on again. My name is KazeBeat, and I am a beat maker. I'm a music producer. I have a website called KazeBeat.com, and I basically just sell beats on there. I'm also a content creator. Got a YouTube channel as well. But we are both in Adam Ivy's masterclass, and
that's right.
That's how Dom and I met.
Well, we're gonna get into a little bit of what it's like to be a beat maker, because it's quite different from being a musical or like a songwriting artist. So yeah, as you already mentioned, we met in Adam Ivy's masterclass, like the same masterclass that Mark and I met in, the guy that we interviewed last time. He was a guy from China, and you are from?
Oh yes, I'm from Columbia, South Carolina, from the United States. Cool. I live in a small town. It's called Irmo, and there's really no hip hop scene here. So
really?
Yeah. So the reason why I pump out all this content and I try to draw in fans and audience is that's really the only option that I have right now. You know.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, I see.
Yeah,
so like the local scene is really not there at the moment.
Yeah, Columbia itself, Columbia is the capital of South Carolina. It's a very small city with only about 150,000 people in the city.
All right. So I guess I think if the local scene is not too big, there's a lot of room for opportunity, I guess. If there's something that you're shooting for, of course.
Yeah, there is a good point. I have been talking to someone who wants to get a venue in another city, not in Columbia, but for performing beats. Essentially, he wants to kind of set up a venue and a show. Haven't really heard from him in a while, so I'm really not looking to be that person that starts up the beat scene, in my state.
Oh, okay.
I'd kind of rather go to where the opportunities are, just to get the career started and all that. Yeah.
I really like it with the internet nowadays. It's really like the opportunities are endless, and I think local is a good thing to do, but I think probably widen your horizon from the start is probably not a bad move.
Yeah, I mean, heck, if I was a talented musician, piano player, and singer like you, I'd be performing it everywhere that I could get my hands on in Columbia.
Oh, you're too kind.
Yeah, absolutely. If I had your talents, I'd be out there.
Yeah, but the thing is, you have to have a show ready, and that's the thing that I do not have at the moment. I don't have a set show where I could just go and play and perform for 35, 40, 45 minutes. I am working on it though. It's something that I want to shoot for, and you are right. The opportunities are there, and they are pretty. You can have some pretty lucrative opportunities even in Switzerland. So I should probably do that.
Yeah, and always have your camera on you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I always do. I always bring it with me.
That's good. Yeah.
All right, so I want to have a conversation with you about what it's like to be a beat producer, because from my perspective as a singer-songwriter, it's quite different, especially when it comes to the business side of things. Mm-hmm. So I'd love for you to elaborate a little bit on that.
Right. So I was actually thinking about this last week, but I was thinking the difference between a beat maker and a music producer. And I see being a music producer as more of being someone who's really in tune with the creative process with an artist, right? Like as a music producer, I may be giving some advice on, how a hook should be sung, or how to put together music, essentially, just a more involved process with artists. Everywhere from maybe even contacting other people, like outside of your studio, and getting in different talents. Like you're trying to make a song with a rapper and you want some live drums. As a music producer, I'd be responsible for getting in someone that I know that's really good with drums, or like a good bass guitarist. So as a beat maker, you're more so just making beats in the comfort of your own home, and then you're uploading them to a website like BeatStars, and you're just having artists buy them. So beats in general, they're very simple. They kind of all are supposed to follow a structure. And I think as a music producer, you have a lot more freedom to work with the artist and to just create something that's more full. And so recently I had an opportunity to actually produce an entire EP for someone who's Rudy, he's also in the master class. But like, I've been so involved with that creative process and I'm in love with it. So I'm trying to, like, I guess, transfer from being a beat maker into a music producer to just be more involved in that creative process. So that's just like perspective, I think, the first thing I want to say about beat making. And the second thing about beats is there's a lot of law involved with it. You know, music law can be extremely complicated. It is. And there's a lot of knowledge that's not very obvious in terms of law and how to actually sell beats and make sure you don't get screwed over on contracts. Yeah. And like the legality behind it is just insane. I can't tell you how many artists I've talked to that have questions for me, and like they really have no idea how the beat leasing industry works. So I have to tell them about what publishing rights are. I guess what I want to say is there's so many ways to go about selling beats, and there's a big gray area in the beat industry about what artist rights are. So there's two ways you can lease a beat out to someone, and that basically is non-exclusive rights, right? So I will allow, let's say I allow 10 artists to use the same beat. They can do that with a non-exclusive lease. If I want to give a beat to someone exclusively, that's called an exclusive license, and that's pretty much the second option I'd have. And
that's that, like, only that artist is gonna have this beat.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. Only that artist would have that beat, and that's generally sold for a much higher price because,
of course,
because
there's no way there's gonna be anyone else having the same instrumental as he got for his song.
That's right. Yeah. And so the biggest confusion I see from artists is when they look through my contract and they see that I require 50%. I require 50% publishing rights. And what a lot of artists tend to think is that I'm trying to take 50% of their royalties from them, when that's not necessarily true. Like,
it can be confusing.
Publishing rights does not mean I'm collecting your mechanical royalties. Like royalties from streaming, royalties from selling like physical hard copies of CDs. That's all for the artist. Yeah. And yeah, like,
so I guess if it came to like a court thing, if the artist would be sued for copyright infringement, for example, then that would mean that you are 50% responsible for that. Is that correct?
Actually, yeah, I think that is correct. Yeah. If I would be 50% responsible for that.
But also, I guess the other way around. If someone were to take that song and make another song based on that, and it would be a copyright issue, then you would also be responsible for 50% of that work. So let's say you have a song, you make a beat for an artist, and that song kind of blows up. Yeah. And then there's another guy making the same thing, the same song with your instrumental, and it would be a copyright infringement. And in the court of law, you would win, or you and the rapper would win. Then it would be split 50-50 if you have 50% of the rights for the song.
Well, the legality behind that is anyone who has actually purchased a lease for that same beat is allowed to continue that song until the term ends. So if my terms are like, if I allow someone 100,000 streams on Spotify, they can have that song up legally until they hit that 100,000 cap. Then they have to take the song down. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And
what happens then? Like, can he renew his lease?
Well, he can, unless I've given the exclusive rights to someone else. That's the only time that he can.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. So it's like a risk thing if you don't have an exclusive thing.
Yeah.
Like if for some reason an artist were to get 100,000 plays on Spotify, then it would kind of suck for him to take it down. if the beat was already sold exclusively. But I guess that's the risk that you got to take for not paying as much for an exclusive.
Yeah, and that makes me
license.
feel kind of slimy because there are artists that I really like and I really value them as friends, and I would just feel terrible that they would have to take a song down at some point. But
Yeah, like you don't want to screw them over.
yeah,
Yeah.
but that's kind of how the game goes. I guess I have to look out for myself as well, and if there's an opportunity to sell exclusively for a good price, then I'd have to take it. And so that's also part of that gray area. It's like, how, as a beat maker, how do I actually track how many streams someone is getting? Is that something that's actually realistic?
Yeah.
And so because there's a lot of gray area, recently I've been looking into how to do all of this right legally. So getting all my stuff copyrighted, actually going, I'm signed up with a PRO. I have ASCAP, so that's kind of the first step. And then also signing up with different groups that will actually collect your writer shares and will publisher shares, performance royalties, and all that. And doing split sheets as well, and actually getting signed signatures and contracts. Like, I just started doing that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I just started doing that.
Yeah.
So it's I'm trying to cover myself and do it the right way. And I think before, like, my knowledge of beat making was just, okay, I'll put a beat up, someone will buy it, pay me money, and that's fine. Like, I wouldn't try to keep track of signatures and things of that sort. So my experience,
I guess at some point you can't get around it anymore.
Yeah, you're so right. And that's my transition from, I feel like that's part of my transition from being a beat maker into a music producer, is actually understanding that knowledge of the game.
I guess, like, if you don't have anything like a lease or something, like, let's say, of course, for you I guess as for you as a beat maker, having an exclusive sale is probably the thing that you want to shoot for, right?
That really depends. Depends on how popular a beat is. Because if I can lease it out to 100 people for like for like $30 per lease, versus maybe getting someone to buy it for $500, that's
there's a difference then. I guess. Okay, I see it now. That's
another
so
model.
my train of thought was, like, if let's say you're increasing in popularity to the point where all you do is exclusive beats, like, that would solve a lot of problems for you. But of course, like, after you saying that, it also would mean that potentially you would have to have it would be less lucrative than to lease it out. But then on the other hand, if you are getting more popular, then I guess you could raise your prices. I guess it's like a balance thing, really.
It is a balance thing. I will say that I would like to get to the point where I can just make exclusives for artists and to sell it for a decent price. I'd much rather do that, I think.
I would say I have done that before, and it is a really cool thing to do. It really is.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't call myself a professional producer at all, because I don't have any education. All my education comes from YouTube and reading things. Though I do put a lot of value on that. I always say you can learn almost anything with YouTube and the internet as a whole. And I've been doing it for maybe like 15 years now, so I do know my way around producing pretty well. But I cannot call myself a professional producer legally. I do have worked with artists though, and I will say it's a pretty exciting process to have an artist in your studio and develop a song. It's a pretty exciting thing to do. Though for me, I just like to work on my songs alone and do it the way that I want to do it. Like, I don't think I could ever get to the point where I'm being in the studio every day and recording songs for other artists all the time, because I'm just too much of a, like, I just like I like things done the way I like to do it. And of course, if it's not my song, that I don't have any say in it, and it can bother me at some point if I feel like a song could benefit for something that they just don't think it's good.
And that's really powerful to actually have the power to control all of those facets of, like, your music, like as Dom. And I think that's something that if you're an independent artist, that's really what you should be working towards if you don't have that yet. Because I don't know when, but in the future, I'd love to make my own music and my own songs. And I guess you could say I'm just trying to be known as a producer for right now. But
Yeah.
yeah, just owning the production, owning the development of your brand, and owning the way you sing and the chords that you put on your beat. That's I feel like that's the goal. That should be the goal for every single independent artist.
I
That's what
kind
you're
of
doing.
agree. Yeah, I think it's the natural direction.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if you know that, but I actually, when I first started with making beats or with making music, I was actually making beats as well.
I do remember you mentioning that. Yeah, you started out making beats. That's funny.
But then, of course, at some point, I wanted to be the artist as well, because I very much like being the center of attention. It's not always that much of an attractive trait to have, but it's something that I cannot control, and it is what it is. But I know it, and because I do know it, I can kind of shape my my need a little bit more, so it doesn't conflict with anything else. Because I want to get attention, but I never want to I never want to draw attention away from someone who deserves a lot of attention as well. So, but point being, because of that, of course, I wanted to become an artist as well at some point, and I started rapping, and it wasn't my thing at all. I mean, I wasn't terrible at it, but I felt incredibly uncomfortable rapping. I actually recorded an entire album with my cousin, and we were rapping on there, but it's just. You gotta start somewhere, right?
I love that. Wow, yeah. I would kill to hear that or see
oh
like a
no,
clip of
you
that.
will never hear that.
Damn it.
I do have an entire bag in my I don't know how to call it in English. It's like the basement somewhere stored.
Oh yeah.
But it's locked away, so nobody can ever see it.
Oh yeah. Wow. Bury it underground or something if you want to make sure no one sees it.
Yeah. I should. But yeah, at some point I started to take singing lessons, and I would like for me personally, singing was always like the tool I needed to make my own music, because rapping wasn't my thing. So the logical conclusion is to sing, and I never really intended to be a great singer, and I wouldn't call myself a great singer. I call myself a decent singer for the things that I want to do. I think it's completely fine. But I would never identify myself as the singer. For example, like Beyonce would identify as a singer, and in my opinion, she's one of the greatest singers that we have. But to maintain a craft on that level, you have to dedicate all your time to. And so I guess if you want to be a complete artist where you're producing your own songs and also you sing on your records, you kind of just have to find a middle ground. But the middle ground is pretty sweet, I'm going to tell you that. Like if you can record your own music, it's so much fun and it's so rewarding to do it.
Well, kind of going back in the legality of it, you own 100% of the rights.
Yeah, I do, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's also tricky, because copyright infringement is a real thing. And being inspired by something is good, but it can easily leak into being inspired to the point where you're copying something and you don't even notice it. It's happened to me before, and it's on songs that are released right now where you can clearly tell the influence. Yeah, and it would be dangerous, of course, if I would become a bigger artist. But it's something to keep in mind. It's a dangerous territory.
No kidding. So even if you're inspired, but it's still something that you created from your mind. You wrote the chords, you had made the progression of the song.
Yeah,
it still can get infringed on.
It still can get, yeah. I mean, for example, there was this big legal case for blurred lines. I'm sure you heard about that when it was a thing, like Blurred Lines by Robin Thicke with Pharrell Williams. I think it was Marvin Gaye's "Got to Give It Up," who was. It was said that was the song that Blurred Lines was based on, and if you do compare the two, it's very much noticeable that it was, and it became a big legal thing. Yeah. And Marvin Gaye, I don't think he lives anymore, but I guess his family now claimed all the royalties for that song, and that's of course not also a big financial hit, but it's also a big hit on your reputation.
Yeah. Wow. That's dangerous. that's just a hard truth to take for the music industry, I think, because you know that inspiration comes from everywhere, from artists that you enjoy, but yeah, everyone says music is something that should be shared and enjoyed by everyone, but when it comes to the legality of it, that is it's the absolute opposite case. That's insane.
There's also another very interesting case. I just want to bring it really quickly.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know Adam Neely. He's he's a YouTuber, and it's very much into very detailed music. Like he sometimes goes into very complicated chord progressions of certain songs.
Nice.
And so it's very good channel, and it's very technical though. And there was one case, one video that he did about. He was talking about the copyright law that apparently Katy Perry was facing for her song Dark Horse. There were some rap artists who sued her for a bass line that she did who was kind of similar, but then he listed like 10 or 15 other songs who could be potentially go under the exact same accusation. So it's stupid to claim a song based off a melody and the way that something sounds. And I do agree on that as well. So it's a very thin line to go. And the very funny thing about that as well is that the studio behind Katy Perry, they lost the case, and Adam Ivy was defending them, even though he said that he doesn't really care for Katy Perry that much. After that, I think it was Warren. I don't want to accuse anyone. It's just the label of them. After that all happened, at some point they copyright claimed Adam Neely's video. So he was helping them out, and then what they did, copyright that video for using Katy Perry's song.
Oh no.
It's so terrible and ridiculous.
Oh my god.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think he cared that much about losing the revenue.
Sure.
But it's just ridiculous.
Sure.
Like it's such a dirty business sometimes.
That's so dirty. That worries
it
me.
really is,
that
man.
Worries me.
Thanks for helping us out, but we're gonna take your money now.
That's so funny.
Yeah, that's
but
horrible.
that is a scary thing. I'm definitely gonna have to be careful about where my sources of inspiration come from. But luckily, I'm at this. I'm not on the world stage. I'm not an international producer or anything. So, I
don't think it's something that you'll have to worry about in a while.
Yeah.
Me neither. It's like if it happens, it happens. Well, I don't know. I don't want to say anything wrong, but I don't think it happens that often, to be honest. Like if it really does happen, it's probably a big thing that's going to be in the news.
Yeah. You'll hear about it. You may see me on the news. Some of the best sources of inspiration for me comes from classical music, and luckily, most classical music is so old that it doesn't matter if I borrow a top line or a violin line or something, or like a cello line, and convert that. I don't think
you will have any trouble.
But that's a great source for anyone who needs inspiration.
That's the thing I want to talk. I saw you a few days ago playing the violin in one of your videos, and I never knew that. That's awesome.
Yeah. I've played since I was 8, and I did talk about this on the last interview, so I'll say it again. But my mom, she's Japanese, right? And so I call her the typical dragon mom, and there's this stereotype for Asian moms who are hard on their kids. They want them to do math and science. They want them to play the violin or some kind of classical instrument, piano. And it's not necessarily a bad thing, but my mom was definitely that. And she's also an immigrant that came to the United States. So I think there's a lot of work ethic that she tries to show me. But anyways, I kind of grew up being that stereotypical Asian kid, and it's totally cool. I love it. I laugh about it. But I played the violin. I was trying to get an engineering degree, so I was good at math and science. And really? So I owned it. I did it well. That was my thing.
Well, that's kind of awesome.
But my first instrument was. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, but now you can play the violin.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah. And sometimes I'll pull it out if I'm just trying to come up with something in key or just any sort of inspiration. There's a lot of classical music that has inspired my beats like now.
Yeah.
That video that you saw the other day, like that melody has literally been in my head for 10 years because I used to play it in high school and it was one of my favorite songs. And
that's really, really cool.
Yeah.
So it's funny that you mentioned the classical music thing because it's inspired a lot of my music as well. But I was more leaning towards video game music that inspired me a lot. And I did a coffee episode once talking about that. And it sounds silly when you say it, like a lot of video game music has inspired me. But when we get down to the core, like it was like games like Final Fantasy. And they are putting so much work into the music. And there a lot of pieces are complete orchestral arrangements that are now performed live all over the world. So some of them are considered to be masterpieces. And this is what influenced a lot of my music because I grew up with playing video games and it was a way for me to escape in a different world. And of course, being a musician already as a kid, it influenced me a lot. And I used to play like all the songs on the piano from the video games. And this is like how it all started. And one song that I released is called Carousel, was based on a very chord progression that I did based on a video game that I always used to play. And I thought I need to have that chord progression in one of my songs. And it ended up being on the album. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Just don't let them know that you used it.
No, just scratch that out.
Yeah, but that's beautiful. And I've never thought about video game music being considered masterpieces. But yeah, no, you're absolutely right. One of my favorite games was Kingdom Hearts.
Oh, now we have reached an entire new topic, man.
But yeah, that music, it sticks with me. Like there's already tunes playing in my head right now from, just quaint memories from back in the day.
Yeah, I was
that music really
Kingdom
is
Hearts
something
fan.
else.
Yeah, it is, man. Like if you think about, I assume you played Kingdom Hearts 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the intro music from Kingdom Hearts 1 was called Dearly Beloved. I mean, it's just a piano piece. If you listen to that from Kingdom Hearts 2, it's an orchestral arrangement, and it's so beautiful. It's so good. and every Kingdom Hearts game has an orchestral arrangement of the main theme. And if you listen to that closely and dissect it a little bit, you can clearly tell that it's a huge amount of work that went into that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go back through that because you're so focused on, doing whatever you have to do in the game.
Yeah,
you're not necessarily paying attention to it.
Yeah, but that was one of the games that I've grew up with as well. It was
Nice.
Kingdom Hearts and Final Fantasy X was a big one, and I would say those two and Final Fantasy VII a little bit. But Kingdom Hearts was one of the first games that I really connected with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Beautiful, yeah. All right, so another topic that I want to talk about a little bit, we already graced it a little bit, but I want to get into it a little bit more, is the whole leasing beats and selling beats. And you told me on Instagram that there's been that the market is very saturated right now, and there are people selling beats for a ridiculous low amount of money.
Right. Yeah. So there's like this no free beats movement, and there was a video that Adam Ivy and Anno Domini made pretty recently. I think they released it about a month ago, where they kind of delved into the idea of giving out beats for free or beats for cheap, and it's really, I really see it as a long-term game for doing that. But there's a whole group of other people that I see they're like anti-free beats. They don't really like that side of leasing beats that is selling a large amount of beats for very cheap. They're very against it. So from like my perspective, I see that there's two different sides of beat makers, I guess. And what Adam and Anno Domini talked about, I kind of touched up on it, but they're thinking of the long-term game, right? So most of those customers that you pull in with giving them like a really good deal on beats or giving them even free beats that they can use for profit, is that you start to build that relationship. You collect their email, and then you can continue to build. If they need mixing or mastering, you could offer that service as well. And
Yeah,
that's when,
of course,
you know,
yeah.
they'll make a song, they'll come back to you. That I started doing that recently. And so I've mixed a couple of songs, and it's just a really easy way to connect with people. So
Yeah.
I'm definitely a fan of that side of the business. I used to not be. I used to be kind of prideful over my work, and I would
Yeah.
think, like, you know, I'm not gonna let go of this beat unless someone buys it for $400. You
Yeah.
know, something ridiculous. You know.
Yeah. It's like because it's like your babies, right? Every beat is like a
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's because
Yeah.
it's a baby, so I get
Yeah.
very attached to them.
yeah.
Right. So that was my thinking before, and I just wasn't making as much progress. I wasn't collecting as many emails,
Yeah.
and I just wasn't really happy. But
Okay, I
as I
see.
started giving out more free beats, changing my perspective, and I started offering like packs of beats for a small amount of money, just doing everything I can to try to give value to the artist. And like that's how I see business. Like before I would think, all right, what's the artist going to do for me? How much are they going to pay me?
Yeah.
But now it's all about what am I going to do for the artist?
Ah, I
And
see. Okay.
What can I do to give them a reason to come back to me?
Yeah.
It's all about your lens and like the scope. And this
Yeah.
this is something in like all life. It's, you know, for me being able to switch to what can I do for someone else? How can I offer them value? It's like completely
Yeah.
changed everything. And things are really good. And like so I mentioned I wasn't happy before. I'm really happy now because like I feel like I finally get to truly live the statement that everyone should have music, everyone should share music, should find inspiration from it. So for me to like give these beats to upcoming artists or indie artists that, you know, they don't want to pay $400 for an exclusive rights,
Yeah.
like that gives me a lot of joy. So
Yeah.
I've been really happy. That's how I see that side of things.
That's really awesome.
Yeah.
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 I'm all for about like supporting artists. I'm 100% for that. And of course, it's always a thin line, because if you want to make a business out of it, you have to collect somewhere, and you have to find ways to make an income. But at the same time, like as you said, you want to have a service for someone. So I guess I think that's a really good perspective to have.
Yeah. And I'm figuring out that line as well. You know, so I'm giving someone free beats. How can I get value back from the customer at some point? And so things like offering mixing and mastering, that's a great idea.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, because it's like mixing and mastering is a pretty self-explanatory and pretty set type of work. Like for example, of course, it's gonna like the timing is always gonna be a little bit different, but a mix is always gonna be a mix. Like there's not a lot of creative process that goes into it. It's more.
Sure.
It's really just systematic and technical work that needs to be done for the song to sound good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Something that I don't like to do as much, to be quite honest. I like tuning things to the point that I want it to sound the way that I want it to sound, but there comes a point like I'm a little bit of a perfectionist, and I'm not saying I'm a perfectionist. Like I see it as not a great thing, because it slows me down.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but mastering, I never do masters anymore. I give them to someone I met because of the 20 days of focus challenge that Adam did once. I met a guy from Nevada, I think, and he's doing all my masters now. He's doing a great job. Yeah, I don't want to bother with it anymore. I'm done with it. Like when you're writing a song and you're sitting in the studio for hours and hours and hours, and then you're finally at the point where you can mix it, and then it sounds good in the mix, and then you also have to master it. Like I'm done. I just want to get the song out.
I can understand that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm pretty new at the whole mixing and mastering thing, so I haven't really ran into too many problems. It may take me like a couple hours. But I have heard some horror stories of people having to spend whole days on like a mix or master just because the files are difficult to handle. Or I'm sure you've had some experience with just spending way too much time on that mastering process.
It's like there comes a point where it's just that if you keep tweaking things, there comes a point where you over tweaked everything, and it's probably better to start over and do it again. But at that point, you don't want to throw away all the work that you did. So it kind of becomes like a devil's circle.
Yeah,
it can be quite tough. Yeah,
I got to start giving my ears some breaks before I do all that. I can become pretty impatient. You know, like I used to mix my beats as I was creating them, which is
I do the same thing. Yeah, but you kind of just want to hear how it sounds already, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm doing my best to stop doing that. I actually kind of got out of that habit, but now I need to start giving my ears some breaks, and maybe mixing the next day, and or mastering the day after that and stuff. But yeah, I'm learning and everything.
Yeah, but, of course, man, it's a process.
Yeah. But kind of getting back to the beats, or I guess the different ways of selling beats. In the first video, I made an analogy to beats, to like the commodities of beat, or how beats can be seen as a commodity. Sorry for the word salad there.
No
but
worries.
I watched the Anno Domini video, or sorry, it was a Legion Beats video. But him and Anno Domini, they're very similar in their business models and the way that they see beats. But the thing that changed my perspective is that beats are like gasoline today, because the market is so crowded. Everyone is making fire beats. Like people's beats sound freaking amazing. Yeah. I'm definitely not the best beat maker in the world. Like, I'm all right, but there are people who don't have social media accounts who make amazing beats. Yeah. There are people who, like, everyone just makes good beats. And for the longest time, that used to scare me, because, we go through that whole, as creators, we go through that process of comparing ourselves to other creators and stuff. Yeah. And so now, like, I think shifting your focus to different ways of marketing and advertising and having different business models is the way that you're going to win within the beat industry. Yeah. So going back to what Legion Beats said, beats are like gasoline. Everyone's making gasoline. So for your gas station, you've got to figure out how you're going to draw your audience and how you're going to sell beats. So if you're competing with another gas station, you're probably going to want to lower your prices a little bit. You're going to want to have access to something that's very, convenient. Gas stations work on convenience. So if you have a platform that's very convenient for your artist to buy beats from, that's something you have to capitalize on as well. And the biggest thing is, how do I make a package deal for an artist? How do I make like a deal that's so good that they can't really deny that? So that's where you start seeing offers like, buy 100 of my beats for $30.
Yeah. Okay.
Which sounds insane,
Yeah.
But I feel like that's what a lot of other e-commerce platforms have moved into. Yeah. And that's just the direction that the beat market is moving into. It's more like e-commerce, getting into sales funnels and things like that. That's the way I see it.
Yeah. I mean, hearing that, I agree with you. With the convenience side of things, it's really if I was a rapper and I would want to have a beat, like as a rapper, I wouldn't be concerned that much with the beat. It just has to fit my overall idea, and if I can get it at a place where it's very easy, I can have like a nice layout and find exactly what I need to find, and then I can get it within like a half a minute or a minute. I have downloaded it and can already use it for my track. That would be attractive for me. So I do agree with you there. And when it comes to gas stations, I always use the ones that are most convenient to drive into. So if I have to like go around a bunch of curves, I'm not gonna go there. I'm just gonna go to the one that's most convenient, the biggest, and the ones where I can have the most space and the least amount of risk to damaging my car.
Yeah, and like that convenience is a real thing.
It is.
So even if there's a difference in a few cents, you're gonna go to the one that's most convenient for you.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And part of that, I feel like part of that convenience can be created through a sales funnel, which is if you walked in the Best Buy or something and you don't know the layout of the store, the representative will come up to you and he'll say, hey, come with me. I'll show you, I'll show you where the iPhones are. I'll show you where car speakers are. They'll help you out, and they'll basically just lead you and direct you so you can be in the store as fast as possible and get out the store as fast as possible.
Yeah.
Right. And so I feel like that's the point of a sales funnel, is to basically just direct your customer to give them what they want immediately.
Yeah.
And that's, so I think maybe like 4 or 5 months ago, I basically made a funnel on my website, and it's been working pretty well. Like, I'm just trying to take that concept of being like an online sales representative. Like, if you go to my website, there's like only one big red button that the consumer can go to. So they click it, and then there's like another video on the next page, me talking about some stuff. And then if they want to continue with the offer, they'll click the other red button, It's like, I think normal websites, they have so many buttons and so many different options to go to. It can be overwhelming, And
absolutely.
In a society where we're all used to getting information in like bite-sized bits, like, I don't know what the average attention span of like a 13-year-old today is. It may be like 6 seconds.
Very little. Yeah.
So you can't have so much going on. It's got to be very direct, and it has to capture people's attention really fast.
I totally agree, man. But that's very smart, man, with the button. So I gotta check it out. I haven't been on their website for a while, so I definitely gotta check it out. It sounds like a really smart thing to do.
Yeah, I think it's critical. Like, it's not necessary for beat makers, but like I just see that shift beginning to happen. Yeah, I mean,
the earlier that you are with that sort of thing, the better.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Cool.
Another thing I wanted to say is that not every artist not every artist will buy into those kinds of deals. Like, there's some artists who, like, they see one beat, they know what they want, they're just gonna buy that one beat. They don't really want to, like, juggle 100 beats from someone's beat pack that they got for $10.
Yeah, that was I thinking as well. Like, you're gonna have to go through 100 beats to find the one that you want. Yeah.
So this guy was explaining to me that that's totally true. There's just two different types of audiences out there. Like, there are artists that want those giant packs of beats, and if you're not selling to that audience, then you're kind of missing out on part of the profits, I think.
Yeah, I kind of agree.
Yeah, so that's the reason why I'm trying to get into it that way.
I see. Cool. Well, I think, like, if one thing that comes to mind is, if you can't beat them, join them. But I don't know if that's 100% accurate here. I do agree with you have to give the consumer what they want. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So one question I have in my mind is, like, we have talked about you had the attitude before that beats were your babies, and I guess it still is that way. But the first question I have is, do you invest yourself less emotionally now into the beats, because you might have to give it away for free now rather than before?
Yeah, I'm definitely not as emotional about them. I'm not nearly as attached as I used to be. Because I've been getting a lot of joy out of people just getting them for free. I'll post up a YouTube video. What I started doing on my YouTube videos is, sorry, I just wanted to mention this because I think it's really funny.
Sure.
But so if you actually want to find that link to my free beat on my YouTube, it's not in the video description. At the very beginning of the video, I'd say, like, the download link will appear randomly. And so I'll actually put the download link at, like, a minute 40 seconds or something out of a 2-minute beat. So it's at the end. And sometimes I'll put it like halfway, I'll put the link halfway through. So it's never in the same spot. So,
I see. So to increase your watch time.
They have to watch it. If they want the link. That's the only way to get it.
Well, it's crucially important on YouTube, the watch time.
Yeah. So I've had a handful of people message me and they're wondering where the link is, and they're like, oh, this is such clickbait. Like, you don't even put the link up.
Well, technically, it's not clickbait.
So, you just have to pay attention.
Yeah. I think that's a smart idea.
Yeah, I got it from this guy. His name is Ryini Beats.
Yeah.
He's just kind of a well-known producer, a YouTube producer. Whatever.
Okay, I see.
It's just an idea I got, and I was like, that's genius. I've got to do that.
Cool.
But like I've been having a lot of fun getting creative with giving those free beats to artists, and so I just really enjoy it. I just kind of do it in hopes that they'll come back to me.
Cool. Well, that's great. I mean, it's
for other business.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that the first point is being emotionally attached to a piece of music is a natural thing to have. Like, I am very much emotionally invested in my songs, and I have had people ask me if they can buy an instrumental of mine before, but to this day I never once sold one. Not because I never really pursued it, but like, for example, there was one guy, he heard an instrumental of mine and he was like, oh, that's really cool, can I use that? And like, sure, you can buy it if you want. And then like, yeah, sure, let's talk about it. But then we never talked about it. And I was glad we didn't, because I kind of don't really want to sell them. But at the same time, it's just sitting on my hard drive now, not doing good for anyone. So I guess that's another point.
That's interesting.
Yeah. It's a tough topic.
It's different. My question to you would be, would you sell it if someone just wanted like a lease? They didn't necessarily want the exclusive rights to the song.
No, I probably would go the other way around. I would probably only go exclusive.
Okay.
And I will probably only give it to someone I know and I can trust. Because I would feel horrible seeing an instrumental of mine, which I have put in a lot of work for, to like go to waste. You know what I mean? Like, if I feel like I have made a piece of music that is really good, I want to see that piece of music being used in a good way, sort of.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
But I guess we're back to the pride point, kind of. But then again, I'm not a beat seller, so it's a different thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's. I was about to say, it really depends on the reason why you're making the instrumental.
Yeah.
And I think the reason why I used to be really attached to my beats is, at the time I didn't realize it, but I was making beats for myself, but trying to like sell it to other people.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
That's it was probably like some of my most creative moments and times when I was just making stuff for me, and I'd be making the beat, and I would, I'd be trying to find a cadence with the raps, and I would say, oh yeah, like, this sounds like A$AP Rocky could rap over it or something.
Yeah, it's all in your titles. Yeah.
So I'd try to, do the whole type beats thing, but really those are just like Kaze type beats. Those are like beats for me if I were a rapper. So no one bought them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, this is probably like 2 years ago when I was, I guess, really starting out. But
okay. So I guess it's a different approach
now.
I'm
studying. Yeah, now it's a different approach. It's a lot more technical. There's a lot more studying I've done about different artists, cadence, drum patterns, the type of instruments they like to use on their beats. And for me, once I started paying attention to that more, the beats started selling.
Oh, okay.
Beat structure is a big thing. Yeah. I just had to learn that what I necessarily like and like what I would do as an artist isn't what another artist is gonna like. So it's like I had to tame all that creative process and give it more of a direction, and that's really helped me, and also makes me less emotionally attached because it's not really made for me.
Okay, I guess. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. So I have a question. Is it still like when I used to do hip hop music, it used to be quick intro, 16 bars of rap, and then maybe 8 or 16 bars of chorus, another 16 bars of a verse, and then so on. Is that still a thing with the 16 bars?
Oh yeah, it's still the thing.
Still the thing, okay.
Yeah, it's still the
thing.
So
that's like how many, what do you call that? I only know it in German. Like I guess it's a bar. It's like a 4/4. If you have a 4/4 and then you have 4 clicks, that's a bar, I guess.
Oh,
so you have, okay, yeah.
Looking at
so
your DAW.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So I guess that's still okay. I see.
Yeah,
that's the exact same as we used to do it.
Yeah, that's still the formula, and that's that was like a tough thing for me to do because I just didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
I just wanted to like structure it my own way, you know.
Yeah.
But it helps, and kind of going back to like beat maker versus music producer. Like if you're trying to be a beat maker, you have to follow along to some structure.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
To give you like a little bit of a, how can I say that, to make you excited for when you are making your own songs. I started a song just yesterday in a 9/8 time signature. It's pretty complicated, but it's pretty exciting to do.
Oh man, that's wild.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. Yeah,
I'm not even sure what that would sound like right now.
it's just it's, you can imagine it as a 4/4, but double as long, with an extra click at the end.
Yeah.
So it's 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 1 2 3 and so on. It's tough.
I could rap to that.
Yeah, I mean, try it and totally do it. I mean, it would be kind of unique. Though another thing I noticed, the more complicated, the less people are going to be into it. But also, if you are more complicated, people are also going to be a little bit more impressed by it. So it's kind of like you have to find the middle ground.
Yeah, I struggle with simplicity. That's what I'm focusing on right now.
I struggle with that too.
Yeah.
That being said, I'm working on a 9/8 song right now.
Yeah, I'll tell you that instrumental might not sell.
Yeah, probably
unless you find that one artist where all his music is in 9/8.
Yeah, probably then. And if you're just gonna sell it like and not mention that it's a weird time signature, you're gonna have a lot of complaints of people like, I cannot rap to that. It just doesn't go.
Yeah. Probably the most adventurous thing I've done is I made a beat in 3/4.
3/4, yeah.
3/4 time signature.
Yeah.
And that's doable, you know, that's pretty easy.
It is,
to rap on, but I did have people complain about that. So
yeah, I can imagine though, yeah. All right, so we've been talking for a little while now. One thing that I want to get into to round it off is your goals for 2020.
Okay.
So what are your goals for this year?
So for this year, 2020, it's a great question. I have a monetary goal, and that's to make $30,000 this year off of beats. I think I can do it. I was really inspired by a video I had watched a while ago, but essentially there's this beat maker. He talked about how the very first year, you know, he made maybe like $1,000 from selling beats. The second year he made 6,000 or 7,000, and then his third year he made 30,000, and from his fourth year on, like to 80,000, and then it's just, you know, it pretty much skyrocketed from there. So I see that trajectory, and for me, like I feel like I'm kind of on that same path. So
cool.
That's awesome. I mean, this would kind of be my second year of trying to legit sell beats. So I definitely think I can hit that 30,000 mark. And what's going to help me is placements, like actually making placements with, I guess, more, I'm blanking out on the word, but making placements with more established artists. Because I actually, this just happened recently. I signed a joint venture contract with this group in Atlanta, Georgia. And, you know, if you don't know, Atlanta is pretty much the pop and hit.
It's the music capital.
Music capital for trap music, which is, I make a lot of trap beats, trap inspired beats.
Oh, okay.
So I signed this contract with these two guys. They're three guys actually. They're managers, and they're pretty well connected with the artists in that area. But they also deal with people in LA. But all their job is to take the beats that I make and try to get them placed with these artists. So that's why I've been studying up a lot on the legality behind music and making sure I get my split sheets and everything. They handle it as well, but I'm kind of getting into that territory of, you know, doing like serious music production for artists and whatnot. So I feel like that's, you know, if I can get a placement, that's what I'm hoping for, then that'll definitely help, because I'll be collecting royalties and performance royalties and stuff. But that's going to help with my monetary goal of 30,000. Also, another goal, it's not really music related, but it's about a life balance. You know,
Yeah.
I just want to be a better boyfriend because, you know,
Oh,
I'm
okay.
maybe working
Yeah.
like 70 hours, maybe like 80 hours a week. And like,
Yeah,
that's a
that's
lot
a
of
lot.
time, but I love it. So it doesn't really feel
Yeah.
like work right now. But I'm
Yeah.
definitely having to sacrifice a lot, spending time with friends,
Hmm.
family, my girlfriend. So
Yeah.
I just want to have a better focus of where my time is going, and to always just
Yeah.
remember, you know, what's important to me because it's family and my friends and my girlfriend. So I think,
Yeah, it is really, really
yeah,
important.
and our health as
Yeah.
well. You know,
Yeah, absolutely. That should be top
yeah,
priority.
yeah, and
Yeah.
I think since like I started trying to post every single day, my health's kind of dropped a little bit. My relationships have dropped a little bit.
Mm.
So this year, my focus is to get connected with people again and to, you know, make sure I'm not
Yeah.
isolating myself completely, because that's really scary. You know,
Yeah.
that's something I'm very aware about. So
Yeah.
that may be my biggest goal. You know,
Yeah, it is a good goal
yeah,
to have, because it can really have a big toll on your mental
mhm,
health and on your physical health as
yeah,
well. It's something that happened to me last year, when I started to take music seriously starting October 2018,
hmm,
and my main focus was Instagram because you can do a lot with
yeah,
Instagram. And at some point I was posting daily content for probably like 6 months. Not entirely consequent, but I was pretty strict with
hmm,
posting and creating content and making music. And I'm also still working a full-time
oh my
job.
God,
I don't have a girlfriend right now. I'm kind of thankful that I'm single now, or I should say I'm grateful that I get to spend the time now being single for the things that I like to focus on. I would love to have a
sure,
relationship, if it comes to
sure,
that, but at the same time now I don't. So I'm using that
yes,
advantage right
yes,
now. But still, like there's so many things, that you have to that you have to manage in life. So last year, I actually released a song called "Worth It," and it's been my biggest success so far. And it even got played in the radio, on 2 local radios in Switzerland,
nice,
which should have been, yeah, it should have been like that exactly. But it didn't excite me
huh?
at all.
Really?
It didn't excite me. Yeah, because it was so much sacrifice and so much like, oh, okay, so now I got that done, so now what's the next
What's the
goal?
next one?
I never gave myself the time to be excited for my
Yeah,
accomplishment. And I never like shared the excitement with my friends. I neglected a lot of them, and this is when it started, like a lot of personal things started to
yeah,
be affected by
wow,
that.
wow.
That's why I took an Instagram break for 2 weeks. I even deleted the app from my phone so I wasn't tempted to go on
Yeah,
there. And from that point forward, it helped. So I 100% think that that's a very, very, very important goal to have, to find the
yeah.
balance.
Gosh, that's scary knowing that you had that big success, but you couldn't find that joy from it. Yeah, not
Yeah,
being
it's
able to
horrible.
appreciate your goals is probably one of the biggest thieves of joy. I say that a lot. It's like one of my favorite
Yeah.
quotes, but it's
Thieves of
thief,
joy.
yeah, thief of joy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
good saying.
man, and that's
I mean, it's not a good thing, but it's a good
yeah, yeah,
analogy.
and
Yeah.
yeah. I see. I don't really know what would happen if I got like, you know, a big placement or a plaque, but I'd probably think along the same lines that you did of wanting, you know, just what's next. What's going to be
Yeah.
next for me?
Always got to think what's next. Yeah, which is a good thing technically, but also gotta enjoy the right
Yeah,
now. I think that's important
yeah,
as well.
and
Yeah.
it's
So I think you got your priorities pretty straight, man. It's a great thing to
yeah,
hear.
it's but you know, there's definitely monetary stress. I'm really focusing on making sales this year. Like I'm trying to
Yeah.
change my whole outlook on that and money in general. But yeah, I just turned 26, so
Oh,
so
cool.
in the United States, that's when you get off of your parents' health insurance. So like I'm just now starting to pay for my
okay.
health insurance, and it's very expensive in America if you want
Yeah.
decent coverage.
Yeah. Can I, if you don't mind me asking, how much is it? Because I have no idea what American health insurance will cost
Yeah,
you.
so I haven't.
So if you can generalize it, if you're not comfortable with sharing the number.
I'm trying to. I got a calculator up right now, but I think I'd say maybe it's like between 5,000 or 10,000. I mean, if I know some people are paying 200 or 300 a month for their premiums, right? So, but someone I know pays 480, so that'll
Per month.
Yeah, per month. It's incredibly.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot of money to me. Yeah.
It's a lot of money, yeah. It
Right.
is.
So
It is.
you're paying anywhere from like maybe 3,000 to 6,000, and so like, for me as being unemployed,
It's a lot of
it's
money.
a lot of money. I'm living
Yeah,
off of the money
it
I've
is.
saved up for like 3 years, but that's why I've got
Yeah.
that monetary goal. Like it's just time to kick everything in high gear.
Yeah, I agree, man. And I think I have very high beliefs in you that you can do it. From talking to you now and from seeing what you are doing, you're very focused, you're very disciplined, and I think you have your mind set on the right things and your focus on the right thing. So I don't see how it could go wrong.
Yeah.
Personally.
Yeah. Thank
Yeah.
you. I really appreciate that, Dom.
Well, sure, man. I really do think that it's because your strategies that you're telling me, you are really taking a deep look into the industry and thinking about how you can use your advantage or use the options that you have to your advantages.
Yeah, that's something that all creators need to do now is, I guess, find the way that you can fit into the industry.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
There was one thing I wanted to bring up with you and ask you about, but so like we're both on social media. We're trying to get attention, right? I'm reading this book. It's called 48 Laws of Power, and it's by Robert Greene. And it's basically split up into several different ways that people get power. And so one way you can have power and influence is through garnering attention. And there's one day where I just got like, I was just so mad. I was looking through this guy's Instagram account, and his name is Supreme Patty, but he's kind of like a comedian. But his thing is that he puts lemons like in his eyes, and he does all these crazy things. Kind of I don't know if you're familiar with the show Jackass, but it's like he's kind of like that. But he's got like 8 million followers, has like a career based around that, and and just making all these insane videos. And the thing that the book explains is that any attention is actually good for you to gain traction. It doesn't matter if it's for doing stupid stuff or if it doesn't matter for doing good stuff. And so for me, like I have crazy ideas all the time. So I'm kind of like struggling if I should just continue doing my normal things and trying to portray myself a certain way, or if I need to. I know I know the right answer, but it's just like something I struggle with.
You do
I'm
the
like,
answer, but it's tempting.
Yeah, it's tempting to like.
Yeah, because there are things, very easy things that you can do to gain a lot of attention. It really is. I mean, I've never thought about doing anything like that, like any crazy thing. Yeah. I personally don't struggle with that, but I can see the temptation that comes with the need of, let's say, the need of the attention, because like if you're running a business, then it is a very real need, the attention, because at the end of the day it comes down to sales. What I do not understand is people just doing it for the numbers. Right, just doing stupid things. For example, one very stupid example that comes to mind is this girl, Belle Delphine.
Belle Delphine.
She was Belle Delphine. She was a big Instagram like girl.
Okay.
Of course, she portrayed herself in a certain way, and what she used to do is like she played like the innocent role, but in a very sexual way. And for some reason, she blew up extremely. She went through all the news. And then one thing that she did was she sold bath water. So she was taking a bath, filling that water into like a jar,
Oh, man.
and selling that.
Wow.
I mean, it's kind of a clever thing to do, but it's like, where does it stop, right?
Oh man.
But she made a lot of money because of that.
Yeah, so that's what I'm talking about. Like, I don't think we should do stupid things, but we have to find ways, like very creative ways, to get that attention. And
yeah, I do agree with you there.
That's really
Yeah.
the point that I'm trying to make. Like, you know, TikTok's blowing up right now, so
Yeah. And you can't get around
I'm
it.
just trying to think of, you know, certain ways to portray myself that still line up with my brand. But that's just something that I read in that book, and it made me think
tough,
about it
though.
a lot. Also, another thing is when people see like a specific pattern that you do, it could be on social media or just like in life in general. It like psychologically, it gives them some control over you if they can predict your moves, if they know the types of content that you're going to put out like every single day. So the book just kind of suggests that you want to keep people guessing. So I'm trying to incorporate that into my social media brand. And I think really creative videos, like I did one where I made a beat out of a seashell, or right?
Saw that. Yeah.
Like that was totally unexpected. Like, and I think that's something that as creators as well, we have to keep making our audience guess, you know? So maybe once a month you just have like some really creative idea or like a skit or a spoof or something. I think that would go a long way.
Yeah. I agree with you there. Like, you just have to break out of the norm.
Yeah.
Like, giving people what they see every day is not going to be of much value for them unless they are a big fan of you personally.
Right.
But that takes a lot of time and a lot of work, and it's usually people aren't that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's something to think about for me as well, I guess.
Yeah, you know, and I mean, I think you're doing great. Like, your quality is really high. I'm kind of sad that you're missing out on the coffee with Dom thing.
Well, thank you so much, though.
Because those are so well done. Like, I smile every time I see it.
Thank you.
But I understand they take
much.
a lot of work. But
they do, and I wanna, like, at the time that this video is gonna be released, it's probably already clear that I am working on new music, and I want that to be the focus for this year. And not drinking coffee, though I do like the videos a lot. And there was one video I did where I was rhyming for the entire video.
I saw that one.
It was the one that it was really fun to do, and people liked it. But it's just I can't do it anymore. It's too much work. But I will not disregard the learning curve that those episodes gave me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it used to take me much longer to get an episode done. Now when I'm doing an episode, I usually script it during the day, recording in the evening, and edit them in the evening, and then I'm done. Which it's good for workflow and for future projects.
Yeah,
to have.
It's very smart.
Yeah, but I'm gonna miss the coffee episodes as well. But guess we're back to the balancing thing.
Mm-hmm.
I will sacrifice that for something that I think will be more beneficial for me in the long run. And I'm also aching to do music as well.
And that's important. Just listen to yourself, and I totally understand that. Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. All right, I think we are running very high with the time.
Yeah.
So I think we're gonna wrap it up here. But Cody, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. It was very enjoyable talking to you. It was very interesting.
Thank you, Dom.
And before we go, tell the people where they can find you.
All right, guys, you can find me at www.youtube.com/c/KazeBeat, or you can find me at Instagram at KazeBeat. That's KazeBeat. So there you go. I practiced that.
Awesome. So all the links of Kaze will be in the description, of course. Go check him out. He's doing amazing work, and if you ever need a beat, he will be the guy to talk to, especially when it comes to convenience. he will be your guy. So if you need a beat, go check him out. Follow him on Instagram. Visit his website. And yeah,
All right.
thanks again for coming on the show, man. And I'm excited to follow you. I will keep supporting you.
Absolutely, and keep doing your thing, Dom. I appreciate you so much for having me, man. All right.
Thank you so
Take
much,
care.
man. Cool. All right, take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.